Greetings and good morning. Very early in the morning, I have made it back to the location with the 32 Ford. The goal this weekend is to finish the brake lines, tidy up some things on the chassis, and then start sanding and doing body work. Please feel free to join in. Let's take a look at what we got to do. Well, here we are a couple hours later. I was shooting with my regular camera, but I only got started on a few things and the battery went dead, and I'm in kind of a remote location and I would have had to dig out the charger, which I wasn't in the mood to do. So I'll charge it tomorrow and get some more footage going. But right now, let me show you what I've done. The fuel lines have been taken as far as they can go. I have added a clamp to hold the filter in place and clamped it up there. Right here is where the firewall sits, and that's where the hoses have got to come up, so that's all I can do on that until I get the body mounted. More importantly, and granted it's not the prettiest job in the world, but it is done, the brake lines, all the plumbing is good to go. It's done. What I've got to do now is I'm about to break for lunch. I've got to go about 15 miles into the nearest town and break for lunch, and while I'm there, I'm going to grab some brake fluid. I'm going to see if we can't get brakes on this thing today. Of course, next also, we're going to start sanding some more on that. That'll take up the rest of the time after I get the brake situation taken care of. Stay tuned. Okay, a quick update. It is the next day, and today what we're doing is I spent most of the evening yesterday sanding on the body, getting it ready. As you can see, I've got most of the sanding done. I still got a few highlights to hit, but right now what I'm doing is my poor attempt to spread body filler to fill in a couple of low spots that were spotted on the body, and also doing a fiberglass repair, which is a new one for me too. Let me show you what we've done. As with any endeavor, you're going to have some imperfections. I had a low spot here from where I took care of the mold seam. Had a little damaged place here, sanded it off, and it was a little bit of a low spot there and there, so I'm filled that in, letting that dry. And I had a chip out of the door here that I'm filling that in. I know my body filler work is not remotely in the realm of perfect, but hopefully it will get the job done. And I also had an incident where I drilled a hole I didn't need in the firewall for the steering column. That right there. So what I did is I taped up the the piece that I cut out of there, and I have come in and instituted a fiberglass repair using just a fiberglass kit. So once that's dry, I will peel off the tape on this side. I'll fill that in with filler and sand that off. That should make it good. I've still got some places like this to do to knock down the gel coat so I can spray some primer, and the primer will stick to it. And the goal today is to have this body in its first coat of primer before I have to depart and head back home. Okay, a couple hours later, more body work. This place right here had a piece of damage on it right here that evidently happened during shipping. All that is taken care of. Had a low spot back there, that is done. Had a low spot right here from where the body seam was, that is done. Got one more, a little more touch up to do on this place here where the other windshield wiper was supposed to go, which I'm not using. This is my fiberglass repair right here. I'll show some video of that as soon as it is dry and sanded down. And back here we had a huge chunk taken out of the fiberglass, but it looks like we're good to go there. The body is very close to needing primer now. I've got a few more areas to sand, just a small knick-knack places. And then I'll spray some primer. Okay, filler is done and sanded. This turned out wonderful. Can't even feel it's there. Down here where my hole was created that I didn't need, looks really good. I'm cleaning the shop up. I'm getting ready to spray some primer. Okay, to call me a novice painter would be being generous. I'm very new at this. Had a couple of issues on this when we were spraying the primer, and I figured out I was dry spraying just a little bit, reduced the pressure a little bit. That corrected that issue. The good news is this is the first coat of primer. The block sanding starts from here. Any mistakes that I made can be sanded out. That's part of the learning process on this. Overall, the body's in pretty decent shape. I've got some work to do, places like this, all the way down. Putty and maybe a little bit more filler work will work on that, but the parts that I did today, got a little bit of a pinhole there, but it looks good. Got a pretty rough texture on this, like I said, because of the dry spray issue, but I figured it out about halfway through. The good news is it's covered and I can start sanding. The issues down here turned out really nice. And again, got places like this all over the car. Spot putty will fix that. Come over here to my fiberglass repair. And the good news is you can hardly even tell that it's even there. With a little bit more finish work, you won't be able to tell it's there. I think that's about it for this trip. All in all, lots of progress. As far as my progress goes, what we got done this time is all the sanding of the gel coat was taken care of. We got primer on the body. The major flaws in the body that needed filler, we corrected those, and also got brakes up and running on the chassis. Got a little issue with a pressure switch. Those things are really delicate, and the one that I've got on mine is seeping just a little bit, so I've got a new pressure switch. It'll be here tomorrow. I'll bring it up with me the next time. We'll fix that, and the brakes should be sorted. So the chassis is just really getting there. The body work, of course, has just been done, but we've got a really good start. Up next is using the putty and whatever other means necessary to fill the pinholes that I pointed out on the body. Identify all those, and then we start block sanding with either 240 or 320. Haven't decided what I'm going to try to go with first. Probably 220, to be honest with you. But at that point, it's 220, prime, block sand with 320, prime, wet sand with 400, prime again, wet sand with 600. And at that point, we should be ready to shoot some color. All in a day's work. Several days, that is. Thanks for joining me. Come back again.